Hi, everyone. Welcome back. We are in the Leadership Lounge, where we embark on a journey for better leadership. It's not about arrival, it's just about evolving with the needs and the concerns, the demands of society and the people that we serve so that we can be better leaders and reach that shared vision together. Today, we are going to be talking about how learning is everywhere. Learning is in every situation, every circumstance, only if we allow it to. So, we're talking about agency today. And to do that, I'm going to take you on a little reflective journey I had over the holiday break when I was doing something special for my family and found myself very frustrated, very upset, and lashing out at the people around me. And at the end of that, I realized, oh my goodness, there's so many lessons in this. So without further ado, let's get started. We're going to start off with what was I doing and why? So every year I have a theme for Christmas. Everybody comes to my house and I love to do it big. One of the things that I do is have everybody leave with some sort of takeaway gift, a practical gift. In many cases, is some form of personalized something that they can use. This year, it was a personalized tumbler mug. And I wanted to have everyone's initials on it, and I wanted to have a personalized message from my mama who recently passed. So this entire celebration, the theme and everything was kind of centered in my grandmother. So already you can see there's an emotional connection, right? I had this overall vision of what I wanted this tumbler to look like. And any of you who know me or if you've been listening long enough, I share that I am a type A personality by nature. And I planned everything. I made sure I bought multiple types of sticker paper so I can print out stickers. I bought clear, I bought white, I bought stickers for the inkjet, I bought stickers for the laser jet because I wanted to make sure I had everything I needed. I had a vision and I wanted to see it executed. And it looked like I had everything I need, except for when it came time to actually putting the cups together. I bought black cups because I really wanted it to pop. Theme was lavender lights because my grandmother's favorite color is purple. So it was lavender lights. The party never ends. And I wanted a black cup and I wanted the lavender to come off the cup. Well, none of the stickers worked. And when I mean none, I mean none. I mean printed hundreds of sheets of these stickers trying to get it to work. And nothing was showing up on this black cup. So this had been a few days, hours each of these few days that I had been working on this. Naturally, I was really upset and frustrated, like on the verge of tears. So my partner asked me, did I need any help? And I'm thinking to myself, what are you going to help me with? It's not working, right? She sensed the aggravation and she kind of just left it alone. Now, what I forgot to add is that multiple people stay in my house, my family members, leading up to Christmas and then thereafter. So I have a house full of family members. I'm supposed to be cooking, but this thing has run over and now it's Christmas Eve because each day it wasn't working. So my partner asked, could she help me? No, right? My mother came downstairs, seen the aggravation, and she said, hey, baby, is there anything I can help you with? And I just looked at her and she said, oh, you in those type of mood? And went back upstairs. So then I'm still sitting there trying to figure this out because at the end of the day, I need this quote from my grandmother on this cup. It was the vision that I had. I had to see it executed. I thought I had tried everything I could possibly try. My sister tried to step in and reorganize colors. I mean, we just tried everything that we could possibly do, and nothing was working. I know you've probably been in a situation where you tried everything and nothing working, and the aggravation and the frustration that that builds, sometimes hopelessness that starts to surface for you. So next thing that happened is my cousin came over and I thought she wasn't coming over to the next day. Right. So I heard my niece and the first thing I said was, I thought you weren't coming till tomorrow. So that wasn't a very nice greeting. Then my cousin asked for something to eat and then I lost it because I was so into this project already frustrated. And then she said, well, let me just help you. And I said, there's nothing you could do. Nothing's working. And my cousin's the type of person whereas other people will leave me alone when I'm in this funk, she won't because she don't care. So she sat down in a chair when I asked her to leave me alone, which is the opposite of leaving. She didn't care about my frustration. she started to ask me questions, which really frustrated me, right? Because she started asking me questions of some of the troubleshooting that I've already done. Have you tried this? Have you tried this? And I was super frustrated. Then she asked another question. She said, could it go somewhere else? Could the sticker, the quote from my grandmother, could it go somewhere else? So I started looking at the cup. Then I saw that there was a silver border at the bottom and a silver border at the top. And I was like, that will work. The quote can absolutely go somewhere else. I had 4 sheets of sticker paper left, and those were the 4 sheets that I needed in order to print these stickers. Some of the stickers started coming out smudged, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, we found a solution, and now here's another problem." I know you've been in a situation where you think you found a way, and then yet here comes another problem. But we troubleshooted. And everybody who asked to help me originally, we all sat around the table. Once we were able to figure out that the sticker can go somewhere else and be legible, then everybody was helping. We were sitting around the table, cutting out stickers, placing them on the cups. And then I started taking pictures. And my cousin was like, "Why are you taking pictures?" And I said, "Because I just realized that there's a lesson in this, right? There's a lesson in all of this that just happened." And the reason why I'm bringing you through this whole story is because leadership lessons are everywhere if we allow it, right? I had this moment when she asked, could it go somewhere else, that I actually reflected on the very thing I was trying to put on a cup. My grandmother says, when you fall, just don't wallow, right? Just don't get stuck in it. Just don't stay there. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was wallowing, trying to put this very quote on these cups to be able to share this affirmation with the rest of my family. So I really wanted to share that story with you as we start to get to go into, right, what did I learn? What were the lessons in this actual story that allowed me to say, aha, right? Because I wasn't in coach mode. I was in my living room. I wasn't thinking about work or the things that I do or the things that I share because I was in my home space. But what I realized is that, right, what you practice everywhere is how you're going to lead anywhere. So when I talk about regulating your response, that doesn't just happen at work. I had a responsibility to do that at home. So while we were fixing the cups and finalizing the execution, I was sitting there reflecting on some of these things. And I just want to share this with you, and it might be helpful for you. See, the circumstance alone forced a choice for me, right? I could continue to dig my heels in, and that wasn't working. Right? I had this vision that I had to see executed. No was not an answer. And many of us work in fields where no is not an answer. The stakes are too high. So no wasn't an answer for me. I had an emotional connection to this thing because my grandmother recently passed. She passed last month. And no wasn't an answer, but I was focused so hard on control that I really wasn't open to the people around me trying to help. I really wasn't open to other paths to get to the vision. And nothing broke. Nothing broke through until I surrendered. So, one of the first things that I want to share is that if you have a vision and you know that that vision is where you need to go, I urge you, I encourage you, I implore you to surrender. You don't have to wait as long to surrender as I did, a few days, all this frustration and anger. You can surrender the vision because although the path may be not be what you wanted originally, the path there might be even better. So what I didn't share is while we were sitting around the table creating these, I looked at everybody and I said, I love this so much better than my original vision. It still had the things that I wanted. It still had my family members' initials, so they knew which one was theirs. And it still had the quote. It still had the quote. It had everything that I wanted, but actually it was better than I envisioned it in the first place. Sometimes when you surrender the vision, you'll be so surprised how things come out better than it was originally when you envisioned it. So the first thing is to surrender the vision. Next, I want to talk about, right? Agency doesn't have to disappear under pressure. There were so many things happening. There were things out of my control. The circumstances was seemingly not allowing my vision to come to pass. Really, what was getting in the way of my vision coming to pass was me, right? Me controlling it, me not being open to curiosity. So this lesson is really about how can you be curious? My cousin asked me a question. Can it go somewhere else? Simple question. And when she asked that question, then it allowed me to do something that we don't do enough. We don't pause. So then I was able to pause, look at the cup, right? Analyze your situation, and then find somewhere else that it could go. And it opened up everything for me. Had I not shut down all of the people that were trying to come help me in the first place, I might have been able to get to that solution earlier. So sometimes where we are battling time, we're trying to get to something that is so important, and we feel like everybody else leave me alone. I just have to do it because I know where I'm going. I know what I want. I have to get it. That might be the very thing, not only keeping you from the vision, but maybe slowing you down from getting there a little faster. So, one thing just to think about is that your agency actually isn't disappearing. You surrendering, you letting go, isn't letting go of your agency, is actually exercising your agency, giving you the power to make a choice in that moment. This isn't working. What else can I see? Who else can I talk to? What can I consider? Right? Because that surrender is a posture, it's not a failure. Right? It's not saying, "Oh, you don't have to do what I did," and wait till you were so frustrated in order to be able to surrender because there was nothing else you could do. So, what I was thinking about is something that I talked about often is surrender is a posture. But I didn't do that when I was making these cups, right? I wasn't coaching somebody, I wasn't leading a session, I wasn't talking about that. I had abandoned that. My instinct was to dig my heels in. Although I know surrender gets me there faster. So I had to sit and reflect with why. And when I did, this particular moment, it was really that emotional connection that I had to what my grandmother said and that being on the cup. And one of the first questions that my cousin asked me was, "Does it have to go there?" And that really shut me down because I'm like, it has to go there. It's the message from my grandmother. So my emotional connection was causing me to dig my heels in farther. And I know that the work that we do a lot of times we have an emotional connection to. And I just want to invite you to see that sometimes that can create blind spots for us because we're so emotional about a thing. We have that emotional connection stemming from a good place, but that emotional connection could create blind spots, which is why it's so important to let people in, let your team in, let your family in, because they may be able to ask questions that helps to remove some of the blind spots. And lastly, what I really want to hone on is that that leadership practice again happens everywhere. When I sat and reflected on this process, not the products, because when I started taking pictures, we were nowhere near finished. It was the process that I was in awe of. I was like, so many lessons here. And I want to invite you that when crises happen, chaos happens, I want you to sit back and before you think about how to fix it, give yourself an invitation to see what you can learn from it. Because I always said to my team, don't waste a good crisis. If that crisis is kicking you behind, you need to turn around and get something back from that crisis. Don't let that crisis leave, pass without you getting something from it because you best to believe it took something from you. So I always say don't waste a good crisis. And with this particular episode, what I'm saying is see what you can learn from something without trying to fix. And I know that that doesn't sound easy. It's not always easy for me, right? I took myself through all this unnecessary frustration to get to a better spot that I could have gotten to earlier had I been more in a learner mode than just trying to execute my vision alone, might I add, right? It was the collaboration. It was the people that came in to help me. It was the fact that I finally was open to the questions that I was being asked versus me trying to just push my supposed answer or my supposed outcome. So leadership practice is happening everywhere. And the more you practice it in these moments that are outside of your office or outside of your boardroom or wherever you do your leadership inside your churches or as a parent, the more times you get to practice out of those high stakes moments, you get to build your leadership muscle a little bit more for those high stakes moments. So that's one thing that I wanted to share. But at the end of the day, what I really want to leave us with are some reflective questions that I kind of sat with as I was sitting at the table in all of this process. And that was like what do I tend to do? Or what is your natural reflex when the thing that you thought was going to pan out stops working, right? Where do you go to first? I want you to really sit and reflect on that because you can give yourself a reframe, right? Am I doing my instincts, what's natural, and is that the thing that's going to get me closer to my overall outcome, right? When things stop working, I'm a problem solver. I, I go directly into fix it mode. So for me, when things stop working, what I learned this time that I'm going to start practicing is what I shared. What can I learn? What can I learn from this situation before I try to fix it? Because what I learned in this situation is that that's where the answer was. The answer was in the learning, not in me trying to fix it. And one thing I also want you to think about is where are you trying to regain control? Where are you trying to regain control? And I want you to then push yourself and say, why? What is that attached to? What is it that I'm really trying to control? And once you land on what is it that you're really trying to control, then get curious about that thing, right? That's the why. Why? Or what is it that you're trying to prevent? I was trying to prevent the fact that my grandmother's quote would not be on that cup. I was trying to prevent that at all costs. Why? Because I had this emotional connection. That was preventing me from being curious, right? I want you to think about who might be able to offer support, right? When I was sitting there at the table, I was like, wow, all this support around me, and I was just shunning it all away. So if you're stuck and you're not moving, I want you to open yourself up to who might be able to provide support. And lastly, the question I had to sit with that was a little uncomfortable for me was what am I modeling in these moments of frustration? When my niece came down the steps and the first thing I asked her was, I thought you wasn't coming till tomorrow. Come on now. What did I model in that situation? I had to call her and I apologized. And she was like, it's okay, auntie. I know you were frustrated. But what I modeled in that situation is that when I'm frustrated or when you're frustrated, you get to lash out at people. Not acceptable, right? Me being frustrated had nothing to do with her. She was happy to see me and she was met with frustration. What was I modeling in that frustration? And do I want to continue doing it? Right. So my grandmother said, when you fall, don't wallow. We are not perfect. I'm not trying to be perfect because that is an unattainable goal. We are going to fall. And I fell in that moment. But the most important thing was to do what my grandmother said is when you fall, don't wallow. You can't stay there. So when I called my niece and apologized and she said, it's okay. I told her, I appreciate you being understanding, but it's not okay. I had no right to speak to you the way that I did. You met me with joy, and I should meet you with that same joy. You deserve that, whether I'm frustrated or not. And she said, I love you, auntie. And I said, I love you too, B. So what was I modeling in that initial situation of frustration? When you fall, it's okay to fall, but don't wallow. Me not wallowing was then seeking to repair. I didn't just get up and say, well, I was frustrated and that's it. No, I sought to repair. That's how I didn't wallow. So wallow doesn't always look like sadness. It can look like trying to control the situation. Whatever it is that gets you stuck in a situation, that's wallow. So leadership isn't always clean. It's not always pretty, but I invite you to see what you can learn from the situations and circumstances around you. See who can support you. How can you remain open so that when you fall, and you will, we're going to continue to fall, so that when you fall, you just don't wallow. I thank you so much for joining me today in the Leadership Lounge, where we embark on a better journey. There is no arrival, no destination, no perfection, nowhere to get to. This is just about evolving better daily. We're going to fall, just don't wallow. Until next time, save it, share it, but most of all, sit with it. Please like the video if this resonated with you. Leave us a comment because I would love to interact with you. Until next time, I'll see you in the Leadership Lounge. Bye.